In this video, we're going to be doing a Dech Tech for Ziatora, the Incinerator. This is the final, hopefully the final video for Ziatora on the channel. Other than when we start playing games of Commander, you may see Ziatora again. However, just know that if you're new to the channel, if you're not already subscribed, please remember to subscribe. We have a pretty quickly growing community here, which I'm very grateful for. And if you're not already in the Discord and would like to join a community of respectful, family-friendly people, you're more than welcome to join the Discord, where you can work together with people to build commander decks. And if you have any questions about building commander decks, the people in the Discord would be able to help you out as well. So Ziatora says, at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Ziatora the Incinerator deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. And you create 3 treasure tokens. Okay? So Ziatora does a really good job of creating mana, because you're able to sacrifice creatures and you get the 3 treasure tokens that you could use to then cast bigger creatures. So some of the more important cards inside the deck have to revolve around making sure that we can sacrifice creatures with high power so that we're able to deal a ton of damage to either our opponent's life total or our opponent's creatures to remove their commander or Seedborn Muse or whatnot. First cards we're going to go over here are these cards in this pile. We have Primal Might. So Primal Might says target creature you control gets +X/+X until the end of turn. Then it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So it's kind of removal, and it buffs the creature that we want to sack to Ziatora. We have Exponential Growth, which inside this deck, because Ziatora essentially creates 3 treasure tokens every turn, you have a ton of mana. And this exponential growth over here doubles target creature's power X times. We have Soul's Might for 5 mana. We can put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is that creature's power. How do you spell that? Verdute. That word, Gearhulk, is trample. When that Gearhulk enters the battlefield, distribute 4 +1/+1 counters among any other number of target creatures you control. Okay, so once again, just buffing creatures. We have Mazarek, Crawl, Death Priest. So whenever we sacrifice another permanent, we put a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control. We have an Invigorating Surge. We can put a number of +1/+1 counters on the target creature and then double the number of counters on that creature. So really buffing at instant speed too, which is pretty cool. We have the Luxurious Libation. Target creature gets +X/+X until the end of turn at instant speed. We have Halana and Elena. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put X +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control, where X is this creature's power. That creature gains haste until the end of turn. So just another way to buff our creatures and then sacrifice them to Ziatora. It says whenever you attack, double target creature's power until the end of turn. So once again, just buffing creatures to then be sacrificed to Ziatora. But what creatures are we going to want to sacrifice to Ziatora? Basically anything inside the deck, but one of my favorite that I included, or that we were able to include, was this Fido Titan here. What's good, Pause? Oh, you already know, Pause. You already know. We got this Fido Titan over here. Fido Titan for 6 mana says that when Fido Titan dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control at the beginning of his or her next upkeep. We sacrifice Fido Titan over to Ziatora, which essentially allows us to deal 7 damage to something, and what ends up happening is that we end up getting the Fido Titan back, and it's just consistent 7 power damage. The next card we have here is Riveteer's Ascendancy. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may return target creature card with lesser mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. We also have Diabolic Servitude, which is an enchantment that says when this comes into play, choose target creature in your graveyard, put that creature into play. When the chosen creature is put into a graveyard, remove the creature from the game and return Diabolic Servitude to its owner's hand. this is just a repeatable reanimation spell, essentially. We do have to exile the creature afterwards when we use it, but it's just important to know that this is just a way that we can consistently bring a creature back over and over again. And over the course of a Commander game, I think at least my teachers, when they taught me how to play Commander, focusing on ways to just get value over time. And I think that just being able to reanimate things over and over again with Diabolic Servitude just tends to play well in the games that I've used this card. And inside this deck, I would imagine it would work just as well, just because we ramp really heavy in this deck. Next card we have is Grave Upheaval, which just says return target creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Wake to Slaughter. I think we get 2 creatures back with this, and it has flashback, so we can use this twice. We have Back for More, which is another reanimation spell that essentially is going to allow us to fight a creature as well. And then we have a Vigor Mortis, which also, for if green was spent to play this spell, it enters the battlefield with 1/1/1 counter on it. Some cards that we have over here that are going to allow us to draw cards is we have this Return of the Wild Speaker, which we just draw cards equal to the greatest power. Rich Cards Expertise does the same exact thing. If I could find a Soul's Might, I would play it in this deck as well. We have Ox of Agonis, which when this enters the battlefield, we discard our hand and then we draw 3 cards. And we also have a Harvester of Souls over here. I know there's other cards that act just like this Harvester of Souls that cost less. And when I find more of those cards, I'll go ahead and add them to the deck. Anger. Anger, when it's in our graveyard and we have a mountain in play, is able to give all of our creatures haste. We have Perforos. This also gives creatures haste. We have Griswold, the Dreadsower. This creates +1/+1 plant creature tokens for each player, but more importantly, it gives us a creature to sacrifice a Ziatora so that we can make our 3 treasure tokens. We have Evolutionary Escalation, which is just going to put 3 +1/+1 counters on all of the creatures, or we put 3 +1/+1 counters on a creature we control, and then 3 on an opponent's creature. So we do end up buffing our opponent's creatures, but it's more damage that we get to deal with Ziatora, so I don't think we mind. We have the Apocalypse Hydra. This enters the battlefield, and if it has 5 or more counters on it, it essentially enters the battlefield with double power. So if it's a 5/5, it enters as a 10/10. If it's a 10/10, it'll enter as a 20/20. And then I think my 2 favorite cards inside the deck, we have Death's Presence, which says whenever a creature you control dies, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of creatures that died. Just keep that in mind because, you know, we do have that one card from earlier, the Fido Titan. I think this combo is pretty well with this card in that it allows me to put 7 +1/+1 counters on creatures that die, and then I get my Fido Titan back. So it's able to just every turn continuously move 7 power, grow 7 power over the course of the game, which I think can be, I don't think it's really janky, and I don't think that somebody could just cast a removal spell and end it. So it's not the best thing in the world, but I think it sounds pretty cool. And then we also have Warstorm Surge that deals damage when creatures enter the battlefield. And that's Ziatora. So the deck list is in the description below, so you're more than welcome to click in the description and check out the deck list. And I hope you enjoyed this video. We're gonna be building Atraxa at some point in the future as well. That's going to be the Parry Commander deck. And then we'll get other deck techs from New Capenna that we haven't finished uploading yet, but this will be the first of the bunch. So always remember, eat healthy, okay? Work out every single day. Most importantly, you gotta believe in yourself, all right? Peace out, people.